さん、俺はやっぱりこの数奇な運命の意味を知りてえ。
Chapter 767, Kotazone dies just to make sure that Law has a chance to live. Chapter 996, Law finds a poneglyph and reveals he'll search for the checkered fate. Chapter 1081, Law's ship and crew are utterly destroyed and he's forced to flee from the battle. Do you know what these three panels are leading up to? The story of Trafalgar D. Waterlaw is not over. The search into death might be at rock bottom right now, but that's because Oda's preparing for a major high. There's 50 clues in the story of One Piece that prove Law's going to join Cross Guild. Cross Guild's a faction made up of pirates that create alliances. But the biggest piece of the puzzle that's missing from this team is a planner, according to Buggy. Law's an ex-warlord that seeks pirate alliances, and he's known for being a masterful planner. The funniest part about this all is we've seen Law create copies of poneglyph rubbings before, as seen at the end of Wano. That was foreshadowing how Law's going to reveal that he has more copies of poneglyphs. And it's gonna be Law that gives up poneglyphs to all these big factions. Luffy, Shanks, Blackbeard, and now Cross Guild. This will cause 4 major pirate factions to race to the man with the burn scar. And this is all because Law is riddled with clues that proves he's going to join Cross Guild. But before we jump into that, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to never miss the sickest One Piece theory videos on all of YouTube. When we first started to learn about the deep dark truth regarding Law, this was during the Dressrosa arc. He was fighting against Doflamingo and he ends up even getting his arm cut off. But regardless, this moment in time had a very spectacular flashback that we're gonna analyze. When Law was a kid, he was friends with a man named Kotazone. We know that Kotazone was fighting against Doflamingo, his own brother, and he ended up dying just to protect Law. He hid Law in a treasure chest while he was going and having a long conversation with Doflamingo, distracting him. Kotazone also passed on the will of learning the checkered fate to Law. This motivated Law forever. Ever since Kotazone died, Law decided he needed to learn the checkered fate for Kotazone. Right now, in this moment of time, Law's biggest goal is to learn the truth. Stuff like becoming the Pirate King and actually finding treasure, he's not too interested in that. It's all about the checkered fate when it comes to Law. Knowing that's his main goal, and considering what happened in 1082 regarding Law's crew, how he lost his ship and he lost his whole crew, you have to ask yourself, how's Law gonna bounce back? How is Law gonna make his way to Laugh Tale and find out this checkered fate? Now, I know the most common answer is gonna be Luffy and the Straw Hats. I'm sure many people are expecting Law to join the Straw Hats, but I think Oda's gonna take a different direction this time. I understand he lost his whole squad and he lost his ship as stated by the narrator, but I don't think Law's gonna give up on his goal. Narratively, Law should not be a character that gives up on their dreams and goals. He was a character that worked with Luffy to take down a warlord and even multiple Yonko. He is not a character that's just gonna give up, especially something that had to deal with a close friend who ended up dying. Law's gonna continue after his dream no matter how difficult it is. But the problem is that Law does not have the material, he does not have the resources to reach this goal. How is Law supposed to get to Laugh Tale without a ship? How is Law supposed to fight for the final road poneglyph without a crew? But there's one option we're gonna explore today, and it's gonna be the best option for the case of Law. Option letter A is for Law to join Cross Guild. This would be a strong crew, a strong faction that would supply him with soldiers. This would enable Law to have special battles in order to retrieve certain items, maybe like the final road poneglyph and whatever else pops up. Joining Cross Guild would also supply Law with a ship, which is also very necessary in order to get to Laugh Tale. Now, as of right now, that does seem pretty cool, Law joining Cross Guild, but we have to answer 2 separate questions that are integral to this mystery, integral to this theory. 1, would Law want to join Cross Guild? And 2, would Cross Guild want Law to join? We'll start with the first one. Does Law want to join Cross Guild? Well, to start, I highly doubt he's ever gonna abandon his goal. Seeing how important Kotazone and their relationship was to Law, I can't see him abandoning the stream, especially since it was recent chapters, barely 996, when he reaffirmed the stream. Characters like Robin also having alone time with Law in order to talk about the stream is also very important context. Oda not killing Law in the Blackbeard fight is kind of proving that Law still has some ways to go. Oda is not done with the character of Law, and I don't think he's gonna join a crew like Luffy. I think he's more accustomed to building pirate alliances, so something like Cross Guild would be right up his alley. Plus, we know that Law likes Buggy. Yes, Law likes Buggy. We know in recent times Law was actually the one that gassed up Buggy when it came to Cross Guild. I also don't think the characters or the hierarchy would bother Law either. Again, we know that Law is accustomed to having pirate alliances, as seen through post time skip. He worked with a Straw Hat crew in order to go to Dressrosa, Wano, etc. And that might have been a preview as to what he's gonna do with Cross Guild. So yeah, it seems like there's nothing really standing in the way between Law wanting to join Cross Guild. But there is one really cool event that happens at the end of Wano that adds a lot of context to Law joining Cross Guild. When Law was talking to Luffy and Kid, he actually revealed that he had copies of the poneglyphs. So we ended up watching Law give a poneglyph to not only Kid, but Luffy as well. This moment right here in particular is very important because it proves that Law has thought of copying poneglyphs before. The idea of grabbing a poneglyph rubbing or making a copy has entered the mind of Law. With that being said, I believe that Law has copies of the poneglyphs, but he still can't achieve his dream without some kind of crew, without some kind of faction, which is why he's gonna join Cross Guild. Law's gonna run into one of the members of Cross Guild and he's gonna reveal how he has poneglyphs, and he's more than likely gonna hold it against their will and say, hey, you're gonna make me join Cross Guild or else you don't get these poneglyphs. But not only that, it is Law's fault that everyone's going after the man with the burn scar, because when you think about what happened after Wano, Kid went after Shanks and lost, so therefore Shanks has the poneglyph that Kid used to have, and we know Luffy has one along with Blackbeard. So now all these factions, including Cross Guild, are gonna be racing to the man with the burn scar because of Law. And now onto the second question, would Cross Guild want Law? Well, first of all, we know that the current members of Cross Guild fit a running theme. Most if not all of the Cross Guild members are ex-warlords, and we know that Law is an ex-warlord too. So seeing how Oda purposely established that pattern, I think it's going to be important, and I think it's going to be clues as to future candidates, meaning that this is one of the evidences as to why Law is going to join Cross Guild. Analyzing Cross Guild is very obvious that they are very goal oriented. All of these guys have goals and they have something they're going after, just like Law. He's very goal oriented. He has something he's going after. So someone like Law would fit really well into Cross Guild. Another thing we know about Cross Guild is that they're very messy. According to Buggy, Cross Guild can't make any plans. These guys are super uncoordinated. Mihawk and Crocodile have little to no communication. Someone like Law joining Cross Guild would help them plan better and make better decisions. Someone like Law would help give them direction and they would actually make accomplishments. And this is something that Buggy would agree with. Buggy being a Cross Guild member is probably going to co-sign Law. And I think that's the reason Oda had Law gas up Buggy previously. They're going to end up liking each other, and that might be a way in for Law. We saw him say that Mihawk and Crocodile can't plan anything, they do it upside down. He would love a character like Law, and he would co-sign Law into the crew. Now that we have all of the narrative stuff out of the way, let's talk about the mechanics to this. First of all, we know that the Cross Guild base is Buggy's base, and Buggy's base is in the New World. We also know that Law was at Winter Island, and Winter Island was in the New World. Seeing how Beppo swam away from Winter Island, you could argue that he's gonna end up on Empty Bluffs, because we do know that they're in the same sea. I think it'd be a classic anime trope if Beppo had Law and swam up to Empty Bluffs after just fighting Blackbeard, and maybe Cross Guild captures them and holds them for ransom or something. That'd be pretty wild. It would definitely strike me as something Oda would do. But at the end of the day, I think Law's gonna be an important asset to Cross Guild. Being that he's a strategist and a planner, and that's the role they're missing, Oda is setting up for Law to join. Another reason why Law is going to join Cross Guild is because he's up there. Now that he has fought a Yonko and even defeated a Yonko, this makes him a notorious pirate. Someone like Buggy, Mihawk, and Crocodile would most likely respect Law. Not only that, but he also has a bounty that's pretty relative to the people of Cross Guild, 3 billion. Seeing how Law defeated a Yonko and how he has a similar bounty to all these other guys in Cross Guild, it's another clue that he's gonna join. Especially when you think about how Mihawk wanted more firepower in Cross Guild. Knowing how Law has the ultimate devil fruit and how he's willing to fight emperors, I think this would have Mihawk deem Law as an asset in their eyes. Now at this point, you're probably wondering, will Kid join Cross Guild? We know that Kid was never a warlord, unlike all the other Cross Guild members. There's no old guy or any Roger pirate or Blackbeard pirate that wants to look out for Kid. He's a random guy that just F's everyone over. And he's not even a team player. For him to work with Luffy and Kid was a miracle. Knowing the values of Buggy, Mihawk, and Crocodile, I would assume that they would want someone who's smart and calculated, not someone reckless like Kid. So all in all, Useless Captain Kid does not fit the description of a Cross Guild member. If Law was to join the crew, I think one of the first missions he would make is to raid Impel Down. Imagine you had Law and Mihawk, like this duo squad, go to Impel Down and just raid it. They could beat up Magellan and force him to join. They could grab Doflamingo and Edward Weevil because they're warlords too. They could even make Impel Down their base. Like, I think there's a lot of potential regarding Law joining Cross Guild, this ex-warlord strategist character. So don't doubt Law just because he lost some crewmates and he lost his ship. Dreams never die, and he will discover the checkered fate.